Welcome to the Sports Machine with Brian and Dean. Thursday, December 10th, right here in Dallas, Texas. Great show lined up. Show of headlines. Got the NFL latest, some NBA rookies, Thursday night football preview, some random NBA topics, and of course, somebody's getting really low. I have two tossing up right now. Still trying to decide in my head who I'm gonna get.
Flip a coin or do what I did. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. You'll find out who I really know, though, a little bit later.
Right now, let's get into college football. Some interesting headlines out there that I kind of wanted to jump into. First, I want to get into the Big 12. Has initiated a new rule. It announced on Tuesday that it will require its members to schedule at least one game from another Power 5 conference or Notre Dame every year.
Right.
It makes logical sense, in my opinion. The Big 12 commissioner, Bob Bowlesby, says strength of schedule is a key component in the college football playoff selection committee deliberations. This move will strengthen the resumes for all Big 12 teams, coupled with the 9-game full round-robin conference schedule our teams play. It will not only benefit the teams at the top of our standings each season, but will impact the overall strength of the conference.
My response to that, y'all just figured this out. Like, were y'all not listening to what they were saying last year in the rankings about strength of schedule? Were they not? I guess somebody was asleep at the wheel.
Somebody was asleep because the Big Ten, ACC, and SEC already have these rules.
So basically, okay.
The Pac-12 doesn't have it yet, so they're not last.
All right.
They're second to last to jump into this rule by the Power 5 conference.
All right. But still, after one of your best teams last year, TCU and Baylor, got snubbed out because of strength of schedule, you'd have thought they'd adjusted that this year. Now, they adjusted it slightly by backloading the schedule so late in the season, with the way their top teams was playing late at the end of the season, which wound up backfiring on them anyway. But still, I think that NFL coaches, college football coaches shouldn't be picking their opponents anyway. Big 12 makes their schedule and gives it to the coaches like, here it is. This is who you playing. Texas, you going to the horseshoe at Ohio State. Oklahoma, you going into Florida State, and so for TCU, you will be going into LSU in a Saturday night game, which everybody knows is hard to play LSU at night at home. But once again, your whole objective is the strength of schedule in the eye test. All you have to do is look good, win the game.
The problem I see with this rule, you look at the Power 5 conferences, you say,
right,
they should be required to schedule at least one. That sounds good in your head until you realize that Boston College, Wake Forest are Power 5 conference schools.
Yeah.
So is Maryland, Rutgers, and Purdue.
So you'll pick a Rutgers. Once upon a time, Rutgers was actually,
They had Ray Rice.
a true story. And then they turn around and just, never mind.
Colorado. They're 4-9. They were 4-9.
Yeah, they used to be in the Big 12, right?
Yeah. They're in the Pac-12 now.
Because I know it was Missouri, Texas A&M, and Colorado. They all jumped ship after the whole Texas got its own network type of deal. And yeah, it was just straight, just.
The SEC's got a powerhouse. They don't have any scrubs in there. It's Vanderbilt and Kentucky.
Oh, really?
Just schedule a Power 5 conference team. It doesn't necessarily mean they're going to play somebody good.
Right. But still,
You can still schedule scrubs throughout the Power Five.
it's like, well, technically, what y'all said was even Kentucky can beat some of the top schools in the 12 and
Not true.
places like the Pac-12 and the Pac-15 or the Pac-99. How many other teams they got there? And
Why can't we just create a rule that says don't play scrubs?
right, and they're still allowed to play like
'Cause I'd rather them play a Houston than play Vanderbilt.
right. I'm all for it. It's the Big 12 conference, but there are only 10 teams. I'm all for them bringing in SMU and Houston.
There's a lot more to that than just bringing them in.
Right. I understand. It's like money and other deals and how we going to add. Like, it's politics in it. I understand that, but it's like one of the biggest rivalries in Texas. Well, north side of Texas is SMU versus TCU. It hasn't been exactly, I guess, the most competitive, but it's still a Dallas versus Fort Worth thing. Same thing with Dallas versus Houston. I mean, the battle of I-45 in basketball, in football, it's always a good thing to have.
Inner Texas rivals. And the other problem
Right.
with this rule is that all the teams in the Big 12, except for Kansas, who did not win a game last year, and Baylor, already follow this rule pretty much.
Right.
And Baylor is so scheduled ahead of time that they're not even required to follow this rule until 2019.
See, I don't understand that though. We're gonna schedule ourselves up for the next 4 or 5 years. Like, wait a minute, where they do that at?
College football.
Yeah, clearly, like because in the pros you don't get this. What in the pros you get your schedules out like in March, April. That way, they have time for their season ticket holders and things like that. But it's like every year there should be a new schedule. Like you said, I'm a big fan of who was that Arkansas head coach, what he said is just start, hey, this season let's let the Big 12 play the Big 10, and then the Pac 15 play the SEC, or switch it out, and then switch out with a few ACC teams or something like that. Like that I think eliminates all the strength of schedules nonsense right there. Because now guess what? You're playing competitive teams in this division. Just take your top teams against their top teams.
So I agree with that 100%. Moving on to something I saw interesting on ESPN, I would encourage people to look at the college football's easiest to toughest recruiting jobs, 1 to 65. Is a very interesting list.
1 to 65. Okay, let's go.
This is all Power 5 schools. Number 1 easiest recruiting job is Georgia,
Wait a minute.
the Bulldogs.
And how many national titles do they have? I think 1.
It's not very good. I know Ohio State's number 2. So
Okay, I can understand that.
Ohio State should be more than Georgia.
Right. So I don't think Georgia should be top 5.
Let's say Texas is 3. Understandable. I
Right.
mean, they've been struggling lately, but
Right.
it's understandable.
Right.
4,
still one of the most winningest programs in college football.
Southern California University.
Okay.
5 is LSU.
Michigan is not top 5.
No.
Right, I have a problem with that because I think even with everything that Michigan had been through,
There's still 3 teams to go before we get to Michigan.
wow.
Alabama. Which, if it wasn't for Nick Saban, I don't agree with this list.
Uh-huh.
If Nick Saban wasn't in Alabama wouldn't be killing them.
Right.
You have the Florida Gators, 7. Florida's got that mystique about them. Florida State,
Right.
and then 9 is Michigan.
Wow.
10 is Oklahoma.
Oh man.
We still haven't gotten to Notre Dame yet, by the way.
You're right about I'm surprised at where they have these I wonder what did they what was the criteria for grading this for this scale that they have them on for the positioning.
They have favorable geography and local recruiting territory is one of them.
And how long has this gone back? Does it say or no? It's just
This
is it over the last 10 years, 5 years?
It doesn't really say.
It doesn't say. Okay.
Another thing is recruiting football budget. Understand facilities. There's another one, next level considerations, aka the NFL,
That's right.
and other intangibles, including but not limited to winning tradition, game day experience, and academic considerations.
What was the biggest surprise on this list for you besides Georgia being
Besides
number one?
Georgia number one, the fact that Notre Dame's on, like number 14, to me is kind of surprising. Clemson's is a better recruiting spot.
No.
Texas A&M's a better recruiting spot. Auburn's a better recruiting spot.
Right.
I don't think people realize how many times Auburn actually struggles.
Mm-hmm.
Auburn was, I think, the last in their subdivision in
Right.
the SEC this year.
Right.
And if it wasn't for Cam Newton and
They still
Nick
would've-
Marshall,
And once upon a who is that? Yeah, I mean they have had some great.
they said they've had some great seasons, but they've also had a lot of down
Right.
years in which I'm like, and then UCLA's 15 and Tennessee's 16. And I'm not sure if Miami University deserves to be 17 anymore.
I can understand why they.
I understand why they're still on the
why-
list, but
I can even understand why they've fallen back so far because once upon a time, Miami was one of those schools that could even come into Texas and still get some guys to come down there and play.
and Oregon's at 19. I think Oregon's better than a lot of these teams for recruiting. I mean, just uniforms alone.
Yeah, exactly. Like every year they have something new, like the new Duckhead uniforms where they have the mascot on the uniforms, like on the helmets. I thought that was so cool.
It is sick.
Thought that was real clean.
I enjoyed it.
Right,
I think that's a good recruiting spot just for that.
right. I don't think people understand how much uniforms impact young guys.
I mean, why
Everybody wants to look clean, man.
why did everyone want to go to the U?
Or is what they say, how they say, what's the saying now for, I guess these cats nowadays, they saucing.
I don't know about that. Ain't nothing saucy over here. This is a grown man show.
10 points. 10 points.
Coming up, we went from college football to pro football right here on the Sports Machine. It's the Sports Machine with Brian Franklin. It's the Sports Machine Daily Sports ticker. In the NFL, the Oakland Raiders and wide receiver Michael Crabtree have agreed to a 4-year contract extension worth $32 million, $18 million of which is guaranteed. In Major League Baseball, the Philadelphia Phillies have agreed to a deal that will send closer Matt Giles to the Houston Astros. From the NBA scores last night, the Celtics came away with a close win over the Bulls 105-100. The Heat struggled offensively, losing to the Hornets 99-81. The Rockets won behind Harden's 42 points, beating the Wizards 109-103. The Grizzlies got a half-court game winner to beat the Pistons 93-92. The Raptors held off to win against the Spurs 97-94. The Clippers got a victory against the Bucks 109-95. The Timberwolves won an overtime game over the Lakers 123-122. The Magic lost a close matchup against the Suns 107-104. The Jazz blew out the Knicks 106-85. And the Hawks held off the Mavericks for the win 98-95. This is the Sports Machine. Just went over the college football. Some new rules and questionable recruiting list. Encourage people to look at it, see where y'all's favorite school is at.
I can't lie to you, man. Like, just off of that list alone. Anyway. When I sit back and still dwell on it a bit, like, there are some historic franchises that's not even in the mix that I think should have been in the mix, but all right. It's not my list, it's their list.
It's ESPN's list. Going to the NFL. Some of the big headlines. Michael Crabtree, just mentioned this ticker, did agree to an extension with the Oakland Raiders.
It's a good thing. Be honest with you, I think he should have been playing his whole career there
Y'all got Darius Hayward-Bay.
instead of Michael Crabtree and they basically overlooked him for like the same foot injury that Dez Bryant has right now and he's playing with.
Speed. Speed. They saw Darius Hayward's 40-yard dash line, forgot about, you know what? Might need to run a route.
Right.
Maybe, just maybe, might need to run a route in the NFL, especially since he's not Randy Moss.
Right.
Another headline.
Questionable catching.
Another headline. Antonio Brown was fined for that goalpost celebration.
You know, I remember Pac-Man Jones used to do that when he used to, back when he was calling himself Pac-Man Jones. In college, you used to do that, run and just jump on the goalpost, slide down. Which, you know, I always found it funny to see it happen because at the same time, I'm like, yo, I don't care how cushioned that is. I'm not running and wrapping myself around that pole like they're like, you know, I have a daughter, but I still need a baby boy. So it's no, I'm not finna risk that. Like, one cushioning spot not done right and it's pop. And now you out of the
you're
game.
Yelling at the equipment crew.
You out of the game just jacked up because you can't run, can't breathe. Like, yeah.
This is not okay.
As clean as his flip in the end zone was, like, I could understand, like, why everybody cringed when they saw that. As many of these guys, as much as these guys jump real high and then come down the wrong way and bow, there it is, an ACL, MCL gone, done for the rest of the season. It was pretty athletic. Even the whole jump and wrap around the pole is, to an extent, like,
I think it's pretty athletic.
exactly. So it's like,
I mean, you saw the little picture of, like, where they made it into Mario.
yeah, Super Mario. Oh man,
Taking it way back. Another headline I noticed in the NFL today. Just things in Cleveland never seem to go right. And Mike Pettin not making things easier on Johnny Manziel. Saying that repercussions would be harsh if the quarterback got into another off-field incident.
do it even matter for him anymore? Like,
If I'm Mike Pettin, like, you know you're probably getting fired. Even though they need some type of stability at the head coaching spot.
so when you call that an empty threat? Because it's not like he gets in trouble again. All right, well, we only have about a month left of the season, so it's like 9 times out, unless they've told him something that we don't know, like, hey, you're for sure coming back. But their history of coaches, they said about after every 2 seasons, a guy's gone. One guy got 1 season.
It's not looking good, Mike Pettin.
So that's an empty threat to me. It's
If
like,
you're the next coach for the Cleveland Browns, let's say they hire you, just keep your stuff in the box. Don't even take it out the box. Just leave it in the box. And
don't bring no wife pictures and kid pictures, no nothing. Just empty office space.
Just sit there.
It would be like that every year. I'm so serious. Until I brought Cleveland a Super Bowl or got them to like a AFC Championship game, then I look to bring that stuff in because then I know, hey, I think they know we on the right track now. Even if they got them to the playoffs, I like to think that. Wouldn't you? Like, if I got them to the playoffs, it's like, all right, maybe I can bring 1 pitcher.
I don't know. I think Derek Anderson took him to the playoffs one year randomly. Is it true?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if he actually got him to the playoffs or if they just had a good season. Did they make it to the playoffs?
You know what? I think they did. I think they did make it to the playoffs one time earlier. It was like early 2000s though. Like, it's been quite some time since then.
So it was not looking good.
With Derek Anderson too.
So Derek Anderson, I thought was a pretty good quarterback.
I think he's actually backing up Cam Newton in Carolina right now.
It's a good backup. Another NFL headline I noticed, and this one's the most intriguing one to me. The NFL is looking into changing the rule or acknowledging the fact that the rule needs to be looked at, is what Roger Goodell said about the catching rules. Like, what's a catch, what's not a catch. And they're planning to put a committee together to study the issue. What? A committee of ex-players, current players, and coaches. Basically, people throughout the whole football universe that Roger Goodell probably picks.
My whole deal with that is, why are we making this into rocket science? The same rules that apply like with the running back. If a guy elbow goes down, he's down. Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, what's the difference between the running back and the receiver in that situation? Like, far as ball control go and things like that, when these guys have the ball, the completion of the catch, the whole process of the catch. Why are we making this into like rocket science? He caught it, he had control of it, he hit the ground.
Well, they want you to do a lot more than just catch it. Okay, they want you to catch it, do some jump rope, do some jumping jacks, do some up downs.
You know, I'm finna go full blown conspiracy theorist here. And be patient with me. But I wonder if they making the receivers go through this whole process of the catch and the way that they're making them secure the ball, the catch in the whole 9 yards, the process of the catch is because of the fact that the way defenses has to play these receivers and have to watch how they tackle now. It's like, okay, you guys can't be touched after a certain amount after 5 yards. Then this is what your process of the catch has to be. It's like, okay, so you guys can't get hit
Well,
no
then
more.
just say that.
Yeah,
I say if you just say it, I'd probably understand it more. But the fact that you didn't say it,
Right.
you're throwing things in between the lines.
right. Like they say, is subliminal. It's like, hey, we're not saying, but we're saying.
What you say off the air yesterday, we don't deal with indirect.
Thank you. I don't. Nope. Never ever. I will not.
The best thing about the story is Des Bryant says that's cool. They need to invite me. Tell them they need to call me so I can have my input.
Let me ask you a question real quick. Are you a fan of just scrapping the whole old NFL rules and just coming up with something new, fresh for a new, fresh league? Because the old
Not
rules
all
don't
of them.
apply.
Not all of them.
Scrap the whole book. Just
That would
set
take
it.
way too
burn
much
it.
time. Way too tedious.
Hey, they're a $1 billion company. They own a day out the week. Trying to own days out the week.
Own a day.
The NFL owns Sunday. If anything else tries to
PBA
come
bowling is on.
the fact that you could say that with a straight face, he had to take his mouth away from the mic to laugh at that
I
one.
was thinking, like, can I think of a bowler's name? I can't.
Exactly. The NFL owns Sunday. God first, then football. And for some people out there, once again, I don't question how your religion or anything like that. It's football, then everything else. For non-believers and everything else. Once again, we don't judge anybody on this show. Nobody.
Moving on to the NBA. We're just from the NFL. We're not scrapping anything in the NFL. Going to the NBA right here on the Sports Machine. Sports Machine went over the NFL latest headlines, also college football latest. I named this segment pretty much random NBA. So I'm just going to go through here and just list random stuff I saw interesting. Mark Cuban's in the news again.
Oh, come on, Mark. The Mavs is doing good. Please let it be something positive.
I mean, he's talking about the refs.
Oh, man. That's not good.
I know it's not the league, so somewhere along the line, officials have chosen not to call a defensive 3 seconds.
Wow.
You guys can probably hear us counting right. 5, 6, 7. We've had multiple games already. The last one we turned in, the league agreed that they missed 9 defensive 3 calls. And these aren't, okay, it's 3.1, it's 3.2, and it's wrong. These are 6, 7, 8, and in one case, 9 seconds of them standing in there. Again, you probably heard us screaming and yelling from the bench and counting to 5 and 6. The NBA does that a lot. I don't want to hear anything from Mark Cuban about this because the NBA misses out on a lot of calls, one of which is traveling.
Right. They could basically call traveling.
Almost every other possession.
Right.
I don't know any NBA player that actually follows the traveling protocol anymore.
But if what he said is true, like the NBA actually contacted him and told him, oh, man, we missed 9 of those. It's like,
Snitch,
shut up. Like with all due respect, just
How you gonna snitch
NBA,
on the league
thank you.
to the
Just
league?
be quiet. Like, it's bad enough with the book that came out a few years ago that Dunleavy wrote. You don't need more people screaming, rig the league. Look, this ref can't count. What's wrong with this guy? Is he bought? That's my favorite line right there. He's been bought. That's my favorite word. Bought ref. Look at him. Bought player. Oh, you owe the mafia, right? That's why you over here just missing shots you normally hit in your sleep. Yeah. Great job, bought guy. Bought man. Where's your cape? Cape and cow.
I just think there's a lot of rules the NBA doesn't call. Like I said, like traveling,
Right.
walking.
Walking.
That's what they do. They grab the ball, take 2 steps, then start dribbling.
Yeah. Like, pack your bags next time.
Switch their pivot foots all the time. I mean, it's cool because they're super athletic and they get to do cool stuff. But
Right.
if we want to get down to the technicalities,
Let's just turn it to street ball. Everybody calls their own foul. If you're not bleeding, it ain't a foul. Where's your blood at? You call a foul, or you. But
we're gonna start getting it.
How we say? We don't say bleeding, B. We say what? Bleeding.
I'm bleeding over there.
Is you bleeding?
I see a Will Smith NBA concussion protocol movie coming.
Oh man,
If that goes down,
tell the truth. Tell the truth.
I'm down to see the movie though.
I am too. That's funny. Like I
If
want
it
to
wasn't Will Smith though, I wouldn't watch it.
No, true story. Some actors just had. We was talking about that earlier with Matthew McConaughey. It doesn't matter what movie. When I was working at AMC, it doesn't matter what movie he plays in.
How bad it is.
If it's Matthew McConaughey or Leonardo DiCaprio, it's selling out.
It's unfortunate.
Like Wolf of Wall Street, we had old people that was like
Hey.
80 years old. 80 years old going to the movie, and then they walking out like, it was just so much cousin. It was like, I don't think y'all read the reviews correctly, but okay.
I didn't read reviews. Another NBA player was frustrated by referees. Carmelo Anthony is frustrated by the lack of fouls. He said a lot of stuff. I'm not gonna get into all the.
Come on, Melo.
He is frustrated.
Come on, Melo.
But you look at
You actually got some help now.
you look at the numbers, and he gets more foul call. He's the 19th most in the NBA,
Wow.
but they say it's his second season lowest of his career.
Wow, it's a stat for how often these guys get fouled. It's like, oh, you going
Yep.
to the
Oh, this is stat for anything.
Yeah.
You hear
Analytics.
Me, you hear me? I spit out random NBA facts that I don't even know until I was looking at scoring per 48 minutes earlier.
Yeah, that's true.
That's
And you was
definitely
dropping that line to me. I was like, wow, like stat keepers, man, they great job. I can't even bash it. Like, honestly, because like some of the stats that they come up with is awesome, but it's like, relax, Carmelo. Maybe did it occur to you maybe you ain't getting those foul calls, or because you actually got some help. You actually got a big guy who's actually playing pretty doggone well in his first 22, 23 games.
He said that an NBA referee told him that he's the hardest player to call because he initiates a lot of the contact.
I mean, there's going to be contact, so it's like,
Well, that's what he says. He says if I initiate the contact and they hit me, it's still a foul.
well,
It's just like technically it's true, but you're not necessarily just supposed to be running in there, running into people.
right,
It's called charging.
right. So all you can say is, well, dang, Melo. I mean, what else you want us to do? I mean, I don't know what else he wants him to do. What you just want him just to just blow the whistle every time, slow the game down because you initiate
Well,
the contact and
Carmelo did say that part. He says you look at some players in the NBA and people just look at them wrong and they call a foul, but with me, they don't do that.
all right, I can understand his frustration with that because I've even got frustrated with that
I mean,
and past with Dwayne Wade and finals and things like that.
man. Oh, God. That's almost a decade ago. Next year, it's going to be a decade ago. It's time to let this go.
Yeah, it still stings though, man. It's a wound that won't heal. It was up 2 games to none, B.
The Charlotte Hornets are second in the Eastern Conference right now, for you that didn't know. But
And I actually got quizzed on that, and they was the last team I came. I think what you told me, it was like the last 3 teams I
yeah.
came up to. Because
I mean, the other options were the Brooklyn Nets and Philadelphia Tanks.
tanks.
So,
And I sat here for a minute going down the list. They not second? No, they're third. Oh, crap. Wait a minute. Charlotte? Yep.
the Hornets might be in trouble. Al Jefferson's got injured. He'll be out for 2 to 3 weeks. And after that, he has to serve a 5-game suspension for violating the anti-drug program of the NBA. I looked in depth into the story to see if I could find out what it was he used. But when he was asked about it, he said he failed the drug test. He did not go into in depth on what it was.
We're not speculating here, but maybe he was doing a little bit too much of the dab. Dabbing to get you in trouble. For those of you who don't know what dab really is, or dabbing really is,
Moving from the NBA really into marketing.
but we not snitching.
Oh, no. That's why I moved on. Kristaps Porzingis signed a deal with Body Armor Sports Drink. Not
Right.
really sure what that is. Really don't. But this is his third deal in marketing after being booed.
Yep.
New York will either build you up or tear you down.
Exactly, and that's what I guess the number one media market in the world to do to you. Like I said, for, but actually, this guy has some talent though. So I can't. When you look at his game and the fact that he comes from a family of just of basketball players, I can understand that. Him being the youngest guy. I mean, for the first time, I actually watched him play. When he played the Mavs and Knicks play, and I'm looking at the way this guy, runs, moves. I'm like, man, and I had to remember this guy is 7'3". I'm not used to seeing 7'3" guys move the way this guy moved. Like, Shaq was the only other guy that was above 7 feet that I saw that could actually move that well. Same thing with Hakeem Olajuwon, being a big guy that can move that well. Like, I'm not putting him in the same category as those guys, because those are Hall of Famers. But I'm saying as far as the way he moves, just fluid. Like, he doesn't look stiff when he moves. This guy, he chases down rebounds. The whole 9 yard. Like, you don't see too many big guys move like this guy moves. So I think he deserves it.
Real quick, another marketing thing. What do you think of LeBron James' lifetime deal with Nike?
So $500 million, I'll take it. In your lifetime, you'll make $500 million.
I asked you this question: when does he get the whole $500 million? Because it says lifetime deal.
Maybe when he die. It's like a lifetime deal. It's like, so
That's
when you
what's
die, you get your $500 million. But so I can't enjoy it.
This is my biggest question. I'm really confused about this. I don't know when he gets the 500. Is it by the age of 50 I get the $500 million and y'all keep making my shoes for pretty much free? Or
65.
Because I'm going to want to enjoy my $500 million. I'm not going to want to wait until I'm dead to complete it.
Right.
I'm so sure there's some type of...
Let's not act like he's really hurting for dough anyway.
He's
but
not
like,
hurting, but still, I want to know.
Yeah, right. Or like you said, it could be one of those deals where, hey, he has to die and then it gets passed on to the family. It's like, we keep making your shoes, but your family get the $500 million. Like your kids, Bronny and the rest of them. I can't remember the rest of his kids'
I don't
names.
want my kids to enjoy the $500 million. I want to enjoy the $500 million.
Yeah.
Nothing against the kids. I got love for the kids, but they didn't go out there and play basketball.
Love the kids.
They can have some of the leftovers after I get done.
That's if the way they talk about King James' son. That's if he ain't already out there making millions. They ready to sign this shoe deal, but that don't always happen that way.
Sometimes you see the light and things happen. Marcus Jordan was putting it on in Central Florida until people realized he was Michael Jordan's son.
And it was like, oh, okay. I think people forget that same kind of talent tends to skip a generation.
I don't know about that.
I do.
You do? Ken Griffey? Then it seemed like it skipped at all.
But say Ken Griffey was that dude. Like, he was that, I guess they do that dude and that was in rare air. Like, cut from a different cloth. It was just injuries. Like, Ken Griffey was that dude, man. I'll rock a throwback Ken Griffey jersey off the back. In the classic shoes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Coming up, we're going to talk about the NBA rookies right here on the Sports Machine.
I am Dwaylen Dean, and this is your Sports Machine News Update. The UFC has targeted a bantamweight title rematch between Holly Holm and Ronda Rousey on July 9th in Las Vegas, despite a report that Holm wishes to fight sooner. UFC President Dana White told Los Angeles Times on Wednesday that it's Rousey next for Holm. New York Knicks power forward Kristaps Porzingis has gone from unwanted to marketable star in just 22 games into his NBA career. Porzingis, a 7'3" Latvian who was soundly booed in Brooklyn's Barclays Center when his name was announced as the 4th overall pick in NBA draft in June, signed his third marketing deal on Wednesday. Sports drink Body Armor will join two recent deals he signed with Delta Airlines and Schiffman Mattress. This was your Sports Machine News Update. I am Dwaylen Dean, Sports Machine.
Sports Machine with Brian Dean went over the college football headlines, NFL, and the NBA. Headlines. CBS Sports has a ranking of NBA rookies, and I got to looking at it because you asked me who I thought the rookie of the year was, and I went for Porzingis.
Right.
Right off
As
the
of
bat.
right now.
I mean, maybe it's just because the way New York hypes him up, which is a really big possibility. Because when you look at it, Jahlil Okafor is putting it on right now because he's the leading scorer of rookies and third in rebounds. So
Right.
it looks real good. But Karl Anthony Towns is also doing really well this season. On CBS, they have Karl Anthony Towns ahead of Porzingis in the rookie rankings. I don't really understand how. Maybe it's because I sleep on the Timberwolves. I
think the difference between Karl Anthony Towns and a lot of these guys is the fact that you got KG in your corner, and KG is not. He's not a nurturer. Let's not. He'll challenge like KG. He's still playing, and he gonna ball on you. If you gonna let him ball on you, he gonna ball on you. He gonna also challenge you, and I think that's something good for a young big man like himself to have. Somebody like KG who's a proven guy, who's going to be a Hall of Famer when he retires, and who also has a NBA championship ring. I think that's one of the things most people were saying about Jahlil Okafor. Like, is it fair that this guy doesn't have an actual, veteran guy up there to actually try to show him the ropes?
I mean, the Philadelphia Tanks and what they do.
Yeah, I mean,
He might become a veteran here in 3 years.
True story. Or be a veteran in 1 year.
Porzingis has Carmelo. That's not the same as KG.
Melo, they don't play the same position.
I know.
That's how it's like.
Well, it's not like Karl Anthony Towns and KG are just have similar games.
He can give him something that most cats don't have. It's just that intensity. It's just being around KG and that. He went to Disney World, man. Want to go to Disney World? Want to go night night?
Not with KG. And after all the things I've heard KG say to people.
I already know where you're going.
I wasn't gonna point it out.
Yeah. You had that shot loaded. It was you pulled it from the hip. Oh man.
In CBS, they had Jahlil Okafor drop for some reason because he got suspended 2 games. It doesn't change the fact that
he's out there, the best player on the team that can do anything.
He gets to shoot the ball whenever he wants to shoot the ball.
Mm-hmm.
That is a fact. If he didn't, they would be. That's why he get benched.
Because he's making them too competitive.
All right, we're gonna have to shut you down, son. We don't want to win too many games. We don't want to win 2 games. You understand?
One too many. Oh man, we having too much fun on Philly sports teams. I like it.
Not all the teams. I don't have a problem with the Phillies or the Flyers.
But they
I don't really have a problem with the Eagles either. But Chip Kelly seems to have issues sometimes.
According to some sources.
One of which is in Buffalo.
Mm-hmm. Maybe one in Washington.
Back to the NBA rookies. Somehow got out of subject. Justice Winslow for the Heat.
Mm-hmm.
Playing well. Doesn't get to play because they're actually competitive.
Right.
That's the main difference between him and most of the other rookies is he's actually on a team that's competitive. Like D'Angelo Russell gets to do pretty much whatever he wants when Kobe's on the floor.
Right.
Which is why he likes to play without Kobe on the floor.
Like Kobe on the floor, put me on the bench, coach. I'm sorry. Can't do it. Won't do it.
Yeah. Saw that coming in. I like Emmanuel Mudiay.
Right. You think he's another one of those guys? He has the green light whenever on that team?
Pretty much. I think he could shoot more. I like Emmanuel Mudiay's game, and I think he's probably one of the best rookies in the league right now. But they don't quite know how to use him.
He's averaging 11 points and 6 assists.
I think he's the best. D'Angelo Russell came out, and everyone thought he was going to be the best passer since John Stockton.
Wow.
I mean,
I was about to say, wow, wait a minute.
They were saying a lot of. They were comparing him to Magic. Were they not? Were they not comparing him to Magic Johnson when he came in?
That's a see.
I mean, first of all, they're not even.
That's a heck of a shadow, though. Magic, come on, man. Like Magic.
They were talking about the kids passing.
Talking about Irvin Johnson. I mean, this dude got businesses all over the globe. Y'all gonna put him in his shadow? Great job.
And
great job.
And since the season started, I think Emmanuel Mudiay has been the best passer of all of them.
Yeah, I can see that. And he's also had his moments where he's went off for some pretty good points, 20 points, 10 assists.
Devin Booker is just randomly showed up on the scene for the Phoenix Suns.
What do you know about Devin Booker?
He's a really good shooter. He's probably the best shooting player out like from distance out of all the rookies.
He's 71% and at least 21 attempts from 3-point range.
Yep.
So that's solid.
That's very solid.
Right.
That's actually extremely good. Doesn't get a lot of playing time.
Shooting 52%. Yeah.
That's how it is with a lot of rookies right now. Not quite sure how to use them. It's hard to get a judge on the rookies. You know, Frank Kaminsky for Charlotte recently got 16 points against the Warriors. Finally played a good amount of minutes. The more you see the season go on, the more you're going to see the rookies actually play.
Right.
I'm a Spurs fan, and there's this 7-foot dude that randomly scored 18 points against the Tanks. Spurs fans, calm it down. Calm it down, Spurs fans.
Yeah, the comments was already like, yo, he's going down.
He's going to replace Tim Duncan. No, stop. They were going against the Tanks. It was intentional. They were letting him score.
Winning is not a priority in Philly.
It's been proven. They got Jerry Colangelo. Maybe it'll change.
Great job, Jerry.
It's not his fault. I'm not blaming Jerry Colangelo for winning.
All he need to do is start chanting Jerry and start throwing out his beads. Throwing out the beads.
I like Stanley Johnson from Arizona playing for the Detroit Pistons. More consistent than most of the other rookies. I thought he was one of the more ready NBA players.
Uh-huh.
Like Karl Anthony Towns is ready on a talent and skill level, but not necessarily on a mental makeup level. I thought Stanley Johnson was more ready. And then you got Porzingis, who's not necessarily physically ready for the inside game,
but can do it from outside and just set with his, they call it his movability. Like he's so mobile as a 7'3" guy.
Who do you think is going to be the best NBA rookie when it comes to the end of the season? Not right now, but at the end of the season.
I want to say Porzingis, mainly because he's the second best player on that team. But I don't see no problem with Karl Anthony Towns being number one. I think he will. I think he'll finish it out.
That's where I'm looking at too. Is like I look at some of the other ones. I think Mudiay can make a run if they start using him right.
Right.
Maybe D'Angelo Russell comes around. Probably D'Angelo Russell's probably more looking next year after Kobe's gone.
Mm-hmm. Let's not forget, like Minnesota actually has a pretty good little old squad there. Like they got Kevin Love out, who's not necessarily been known as a good locker room guy from some reports. I'm not saying this, but according to
not
some
bad,
sources,
but he's not going to bring it together either.
Exactly. So getting who they got, young stud from over there, shooting guard from they got from Cleveland.
Andrew Wiggins.
Yeah, Andrew Wiggins. Like having Andrew Wiggins as a shooting guard and Cat as, that 4 or 5 guy. That's a good start. And Ricky Rubio had a pretty good, he had a solid start. I'm not sure what he's looked like as of lately. Hadn't followed, like you said, we don't follow the Timberwolves like that, but No, he came out there on
There
fire
was
for a
only
minute.
one reason he came out on fire. That's because I was trashing him all summer.
Yeah, you trashed him all summer for
I did.
because he was
At
ranked
least I take credit
above
for it.
of Kobe.
I could sit here and act like it didn't happen because it wasn't on the air. But I man up to it. I was trashing him all summer. And he came out and performed well.
Yeah,
I still don't think he's that good. I don't change my opinion on that.
well, you always know Minnesota was guard heavy, point guard heavy.
We're not gonna talk about that draft. Moving on from the NBA. Let's get into the NFL. Things that are relevant. Tonight, Minnesota takes on Arizona. Not a big game for Arizona because I think Arizona's already pretty much proven that they're probably gonna get a bye,
First round by
first round bye. But
barring something crazy happening to the quarterback, which we
why
It
you gotta
happened.
bring that up?
it happens
Why you got?
because it happens
It happens. You say it happens, but it happens to one person in particular.
the most. A knee.
Uh,
I'm just saying they need him not to blow a knee. Carson, we need you not to.
This is Brian Franklin. I do not support this message.
My lung hurt. My lung hurt. Oh man. But it's the truth though. After they signed him to that contract last year, what happened? He was done. He was done. Then they had Skelton coming in, concussions. Oh. Who else? Who else was their third string quarterback? Who was that other guy? They had Skelton. Dang. I'm finna find them. I'm gonna find them.
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
It doesn't matter. It's irrelevant to this Thursday night talk. You just want to over here talk about people's knees, trashing Carson Palmer.
Oh, I got Minnesota in this game. If you don't notice, it's nothing against
They've been
Arizona.
They've been struggling lately.
which is why I think they'll get on the right track.
That's why they do need the game more than Arizona does.
Right. And it's like for them, it's
They
like
need.
it's like in a way it's kind of conflicting when I stop and I think about it because of the fact that if you're Minnesota and you do want to win the division, right? Do you really want that pressure of actually trying to host the first playoff game in quite some time? Or would you just rather go on the road where it's already pressure on another team to win because they're at home?
I think it would depend on who they play because they probably play Seattle. I mean, if Seattle gets that wild card spot and Minnesota's hosting Seattle, that would kind of be bad.
It would be, it'd be horrible. It's like,
You know what? I take this back. You want the 5th wild card spot. It's a fact.
right.
You want to play Washington, New York, or Philly,
Exactly.
or maybe Dallas.
Whoever comes out the East, you want to play them.
There's still some hope out there for Dallas in some fans' beliefs.
And I'm one of those fans who don't want it to be that way.
You don't want to make the playoffs. If you thought they could actually make the playoffs, would you rather them go in at the playoffs to the 4th spot or just tank the rest of the season?
I tank the rest of the season, get a top pick. What's the point? Like, the point of making the playoffs, and I understand that these guys are pros. Like, any coach that comes in and says, hey, guess what? Tank the rest of the season. Yeah, fire them. Like you can't tell grown men, like, a lot of these guys, they may not even be on the team next year. So it's like, but as a fan, that's one of the cool things about us doing the show is the fact that we can spout this out without no repercussions behind it. You know what I mean? So it's like, tank. Like, I'm all for it. Get us a top 5 pick. Zeke Elliott, Henry, whoever. But I thought the whole point of you wanting to make the playoffs is because you feel like you can make some noise. I'm not confident in this team being able to make some noise with Matt Castle. Like, maybe had he had like an off season or like something similar like last season where he was getting the kind of reps with the ones that Brandon Wheat was getting, maybe because he's a more proven winner than Brandon Wheaton was. I would have some confidence in this guy. I think Jason Garrett would. But anyway, back to our Thursday night matchup. I went full-blown Cowboy Nation, and that wasn't even supposed to be happening. But I'm looking forward to this game tomorrow because it's actually a great matchup. I'm picking Minnesota to actually get this win. I like Arizona's defense. They, Tyrann Mathieu, is one of the top defensive guys in the league, in my opinion. When you look at the way this defense uses him, he's a ball hawk, actually. Like, he's a deceptive ball hawk. When you look at, I was watching a breakdown of a lot of things that he's done this season, because he's tied for first place in the league with 4 interceptions. And they show some of the plays and a lot of plays that he's made. It's like, I can't believe this guy went so late in the draft like he did.
Well, he had off the field issues.
Yeah. And the way the NFL is going, is like anybody with any kind of rumblings of off-field problems, you could potentially not get drafted. Just look at Leo Collins.
True. Like, it wasn't even at fault. Had no.
Just got questioned.
Just
he got questioned, and supplemental draft he went. So, like I said, I like what Arizona can do on defense, but I think they get it together with the whole Adrian Peterson rumblings and, hey,
they got outcoached.
We got outcoached, and last thing you want if you're Mike Zimmer is to have the fans and the media starting to rumble of, hey, is Adrian Peterson right about something here? When you got so-called experts, they go out there and start breaking down tape of that game, and then they go back and look at this game. It's like, hey, it's proven that when you get this guy to football, you win more than you lose.
I kind of think it's funny. I just thought about this off the top of my head, so it might not make sense.
Mm-hmm.
How fans will listen to the so-called expert on the television that is unemployed instead of the one that actually is employed,
right,
coaching the team. You see what he says. He watched the tape and he says that the defense isn't doing this. So that guy right there got fired.
So what happened? See, what happened was you wasn't practicing what you preached.
I have Arizona. I just trust Arizona's, because I think both defenses are good.
Mm-hmm.
I just trust Arizona's offense more than I trust Minnesota's offense, especially with the way Minnesota's been, the rumblings as you've been speaking of. Adrian Peterson, Teddy Bridgewater, last week just became Santa Claus.
And with one of the things I noticed about, prior to last week, it's not like the Vikings defense has just been horrible. Now this last game, it was like, just burn the tape. Like, just don't even review it. Like, y'all got dominated in the worst way. Y'all was straight taking it. Spread eagle. There was no resistance. Y'all straight took it. So, but as of prior to the last game, their defense actually looked pretty good. Played pretty well. And so, once again, with Arizona still missing on the running back formerly known as CJ2K, Chris Johnson, I kind of wonder about their run game. Ellington is a good running back. Andre Ellington is a good running back, but he's had some health issues as well. And the rookie running back, I think was his name, Johnson. Can't remember his first name, but Johnson, the number 31, Johnson. He's actually, he's had his moments. He's had his moments like in the special teams game, but once again, I don't think I want to be relying on him in a big-time game situation.
I think what might happen to Minnesota's defense is injuries starting to catch up to them.
Mm-hmm.
You have starting free safety, starting linebacker, and starting defensive tackle out, and then their backup free safety pretty much went out.
Yeah.
And they're also out for this game, and I feel like
they're going to open up the pass on them.
Yeah, that's how I feel like it'll probably go.
It's all about if they can get the ball to Adrian Peterson and actually keep the defense off the field.
You say hold the ball.
Exactly.
Don't let Carson Palmer go out. Carson Palmer has been known. The 2 games they lost this season have been on some turnover played games.
Mm-hmm. Mainly because they couldn't run the ball.
So it is a concern. They do David Johnson.
David Johnson,
David
right.
Johnson.
I know because it's another Johnson that begins with a D, and I didn't want to call him Duke Johnson.
Yes,
right.
Duke
so
Johnson out
I
of
was
Cleveland.
Right.
I was playing it safe yesterday, so I can't say.
Just
I
call him
just looked
straight.
it up.
Just call him Johnson. I appreciate it. Johnson, number 31.
Johnson.
Right. Think it's like I said before, it's gonna be one of those one of the few good Thursday night matchups. Hopefully it's not a blowout.
So we can only hope, because in the NFL, Thursday night games just seem to always end in blowouts.
True story.
It's time.
Really though. Really
Things of sports, when you say.
really though.
Really, though? Who you want to go first?
I'll make this quick. My really though goes to ex-college player, NBA player, pretty much former NBA player, Jeff Adrian, a 29-year-old, saw a nice Mercedes-Benz out there in LA, and the car was being parked basically valet. So he sees it and he's like, "Ah, man, that's nice. I think I want to take a ride off of that." Well, somehow, some way, he got the keys to this guy's Mercedes, or this person's Mercedes. And this is according to TMZ Sports. If you want to check the story out, go to TMZ Sports and you get they have a photo of the car, and it's basically just spooked out car. But back to the topic at hand. He basically takes the car and he goes on about a 6-hour, not 30 minutes, not an hour. He goes on a 6-hour joyride in this person's car. So police gets called when they find out what happened to this guy's car and everything like that. The police gets called, and the person who owns the car says, "Man, when I got my car back, it was damaged. Had some pretty sick rims on the car, spooked out rims. They came back dented and scratched up. But his biggest complaint was the fact that his car smelled like a little lady by the name of marijuana. Dab, never mind." So he was a little bit upset at that, and now Mr. Adrian was locked up in jail, released on $25,000 bail, and basically may not be playing back in the league after doing something silly like that. But once again, sir, really though, he's playing in the NBA. If you look at this car, I've seen better actually. It's a clean car. It's nice. It's something that he should have, being a former NBA player, because they have more guaranteed money than NFL players. I can understand some NFL players not being able to drive off in this, because a lot of guys who are not getting the max contracts, like a lot of them, are not able to get these type of whips. But could at least rented it. Could at least asked. Told him you played in the NBA. Hey, let me drive your car for an hour. So you, Mr. Adrian, really though?
Go ahead on mine. LaShawn McCoy, you lucky, because I was going to get on you again. And if I don't have anything by tomorrow, you getting it again. I was going to hit you 2 days in a row because he said some more nonsense. But he got saved by a Vikings fan. Minnesota Vikings had an incident in which a fan got pointed at. So a fan decides to push through a crowd of other fans,
Right.
to point his finger at what he believes is a random fan, points at his face and says, "I needed to make sure you're not a refugee."
Wow.
Really though? Like, this is what we coming to now? Just point out random people.
I'm calling him a refugee.
The fan that got pointed at, to me, is kind of being cool with what he said. He said he was stunned. He didn't know anything about me. We were complete strangers. But somewhere in his mind, all he saw was a terrorist based on nothing more than the color of my skin. He was white and I wasn't. He didn't see anything else. He didn't know that I lived in Minnesota for the past 4 years and I was born and raised in New York. And that the words "never forget" probably mean more to me than to him. The biggest problem about this is not a random fan that he pointed at. It just happens to be the attorney and the director of the Advocates for Human Rights, Refugee and Immigrant Program.
Wow. God. Yeah. Yo, he needs to be war. I'm not promoting violence, but there are just some people who you should be able to reserve the right to slap somebody beside the head. Like, sir, in your position, you're at a game.
Like, it wasn't about the game at all. This isn't two people arguing over the football game. This is just
somebody who's supposed to
nonsense.
represent refugees goes and points. I just need to make sure you wasn't a refugee. Like, it was going to be a problem. Like, it was a problem. Come on, man.
Really though. And now Minnesota's trying to fix it after they found out who it was.
Yeah, the whole city's gonna be trying to fix it.
All right, we gotta make sure we don't get a lawsuit.
Right. Courtesy of $15+ million. Well, I'm telling you, I'll let it go. I'll let it go. Okay, I didn't whoop you, but yeah, this city's pocketbook's finna get whooped.
Coming up tomorrow. Got the NFL pick 6. Might pick the Navy and Army game if we really need to pick that game. And much more right here on the Sports Machine.
Peace out.